Ding dong, the witch is dead. Kansas City Chiefs lose to the Houston Texans. Your Houston Texans, Kush. It might be over. They're 6-7 to win out to even have a chance to get into the playoffs. Playoffs are starting to shape up. We're starting to see some teams fall out of the Indy Hunt graphics. We're seeing some teams just completely fall out of the division race. It's getting chaotic. This is the Week 14 recap episode of Play Action Takes, Apollo Media's NFL podcast, brought to you by Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. We love Zing Zang over here. Zang responsibly all season long. And shout out to Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code PATNFL. When you sign up, play your first $5, get $75 in bonus entries using our promo code PATNFL. I'm your host, Stone Strankman, joined always by Kush Patel. How are we doing, brother?
Man, it's the greatest Monday ever. I'll tell you that. We're going to get into that game a little bit later, my Houston Texans and the Chiefs. But
Yeah.
you said the word chaos, and that's exactly what it is in the AFC. I mean, you talked about graphics. Your team is in the graphic right now.
It's the most fake in the hunt thing of all time. It's so bad. I don't know why they keep adding them in there, but I appreciate it because it just makes me feel at home. You know where I'm most comfortable as a Dolphins fan? It's in the hunt graphics. That is where I'm most comfortable. It is where I've spent the most time. I hate it, but I know where I'm at. I know exactly where to be. This is where I'm at in the hunt. It keeps happening. I don't know. We're in the hunt, but we'll start off with your team because that is probably the biggest game of the week. We had several divisional matchups. We had several close games, but we also had several blowouts. It was kind of a interesting week because there was either blowouts or incredibly close divisional matchups, which was really fun. Had a great time during the Week 14, but Sunday night is where it all started to come together. Texans, Chiefs in Arrowhead. We said, hey, it's going to be a tough game, but this defense is up for the match. We talked about certain players being in the game and they ended up not playing. Whatever. It is what it is. You get through it. It's going to be fine. The Chiefs could not stand the Texans defense. They have no idea what to do. This Texans defense, I said it in a text. I said it on this podcast. I said it in several more group texts yesterday. This offense scores 17 points. This defense can carry you to a Super Bowl. And last night was just the prime example of what this defense can do to a team.
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs really had, no way to attack the defense. Anytime they could get a deep pass game going, it was either a breakup or, the interception by Kamari Lassiter on one of those deep passes. And then the other thing is Danielle Hunter, they showed a graphic about his pressure rate, throughout the game. And it was something like 2 to 4%, but it didn't really matter because, the linebackers played so well. Azeez Al-Shire played out of his mind. And, two guys I talked about last week who didn't play in the playoff game between these two teams last year. Azeez Al-Shire played hurt in that game, and Jalen Petrie was out completely. Jalen Petrie looked like the best safety in the NFL in that game, man. Did you see that hit against Rashee Rice?
Yeah, I mean, did you see the tweet about that hit, though?
I did. Yeah, I did.
The tweet was probably better than what the hit was, but the hit was incredible as well.
Yeah.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, someone basically said now Rashee Rice knows what it feels like to get hit unexpectedly out of nowhere from like a highway, essentially, because Petrie hit the shit out of him. He's just dog piss out of him. It was a big hit. They were hitting Kelsey. Patrick Mahomes was getting hit. Now, I will say that later in the game, maybe the third quarter, Mahomes scrambled out of the pocket, starts going towards the first down. He doesn't get the first down, but he gets stopped like 5 yards short of it. He took that hit and just kept going, fell about 1 yard short. I think it was right before they went for it on fourth down. I could be completely wrong. That might have been the second down play, but he took that hit and just kept going like nothing happened. He is a psycho when it comes to that. And I appreciate him and Josh Allen for just standing up for the test and just taking the hit or giving a hit. I think that's really fun. But yeah, Mahomes' deep ball wasn't working. And if it was, the receiver somehow to just butterfingered the hell out of the ball every time, and it ended up in the Texans player's hand almost every single time. It was insane. They just couldn't do anything. It was 20-10 Texans.
Yeah, I think the flow of the game, the first half, the Chiefs offense couldn't do anything. The Texans offense was kind of getting into a rhythm a little bit. And in that weird third quarter where CJ Stroud goes like 0 for 8, in the quarter, the Texans had negative 2 yards in the third quarter. And, the defense just somehow find a way to keep getting turnovers, keep getting stops. and win the game. And speaking of stops, I want to get your thoughts on the two plays which Andy Reid got heavily criticized for after the game for going forward on fourth down. What like did you what did you think about those calls?
The first one was strange. That was the most Mike Leach fourth down, go for it in a game where it's kind of in reach and you don't need to do this, or it's completely out of reach. And if you do this, it's going to be all the way out of reach kind of thing. It's 10-10 with 11-ish minutes left. Like on your own, 25, 30-yard line? Like that is strange because the Texans weren't doing much on offense after the first quarter anyway, in the first half, really. Scored 10 points. They gave up the 10-point lead, just kind of pissed it away. It's 10-10. You're sitting there like, if you can get to overtime, I'd trust the Chiefs more on offense than I trust the Texans more on offense. And that Texans defense is absolutely swarming. So that first one, that one was the question mark. The second one, I was like, it's 5 minutes left. This defense, if you don't go score on them now, you're not scoring on them later. I agreed with the second one. I did not agree with the first one because it then led to a 17-10 deficit, and you had to go score a touchdown. And before that, all you had to do is probably just go down and kick a field goal, and like you might win the game. Like you couldn't trust Nico and Woody and CJ and everybody else to go down the field and score because the Texans or the Chiefs defense was also incredible. This isn't a discredit to them, but the offense put them in a shitty situation in the second half in that fourth quarter, essentially. So didn't hate the first, or I hated the first one, didn't hate the second one.
Yeah, the first one to me seemed like and I'm going to use this word. It seemed like an arrogant decision by Andy Reid because it just seems like every single time throughout the Chiefs' entire dynasty, they've gone for it on fourth down and they've found a way to get it. But against this defense on your own, what was it, 31-yard line? I think that's just a bad decision, man.
Yeah, that's tough because there's 11, 12 minutes left in the game. Like there's plenty of time, especially for the Chiefs. We've seen it with 13 seconds left. That's all you needed to go kick a field goal to get the OT. Like we've seen it before. I know it's not the same team, and I know it's not maybe the same Mahomes. Like he's 31 now, but he still looks bright. It's just a deep ball. It's just the deep ball where he throws it out of the pocket, and it's a little strange. But yeah, tough game for the Chiefs, but this is just a testament of how good this Texans defense is. And like the offense it can be there for times. They just need more consistency. Like they ran the ball at 2.6 yards per carry, I think, for the game. That's not good enough to win games, but that damn defense is so good. It might not matter. It just might not matter at the end of the day.
I said this yesterday, and honestly, for the past couple weeks since the Texans played the Bills, like if there's any situation where I'm counting on my defense to like stand up 4 or 5 times in a game, I trust the Texans defense with my life, man. And I think it's been actually miraculous just with how bad the offense has been all year that the defense they've dragged their feet to so many wins this year.
Yeah, I mean, and we said it like this might be one of the best defenses we've ever seen in our lifetimes because they're on the field so much. Like those Brady Patriots, early 2000s Patriots with Rodney Harrison, Teddy Bruschi, Mike Vrabel, all these guys, like just Richard Seymour. The list goes on and on. Ty Law. It just keeps going. There's Hall of Famers everywhere. That defense was incredible. It's one of the best defenses ever. The Ravens defense, same thing. But those teams were able to run the ball, control the clock, make a long, methodical 14, 15, 16 play drive that took 8, 9, 10 minutes off the clock. That's so much rest for your defense. This Texans team is just not doing that. Like, if you get a 5-minute drive out of the offense, you're like, thank God, I feel like I just rested for an hour and a half. So, credit to the Texans defense. It's a huge win, and it also puts the Chiefs in a situation where they absolutely have to win out at this point to even just have a shot to make the playoffs. And even then, it's still kind of slim because of all the tiebreakers.
Yeah, the Chiefs are in a tough spot right now. So, with you saying that, I want to ask you, is the Chiefs dynasty over?
So it's strange because we're both Astros fans. You got an Astros hat on right now. I've got some Astros stuff behind me on the shelves. But when we didn't make the playoffs this year, do you think the Astros dynasty is over?
No, I mean,
See, like
yeah,
that's where I'm at.
yeah.
Because we're very similar teams because the runs that we've been on the AL championship series, the ALCSs that we went to 8 in a row, the Chiefs are kind of the same thing. Like the Chiefs have not missed the AFC championship game since Mahomes became the starter in year 2 or whatever of his career. They just keep going back since like 2019. So it's a little bit less time, but it's probably even more time in football years, like in comparison to baseball years. So in a way, yes, because like the Travis Kelsey thing is coming to an end. There's no weapons. Offensive line is getting better. The defense is still really good, but like the weapons is a problem. And if Tyreek Hill just shows up next year, I wouldn't be surprised in Kansas City, like in a trade, and we're getting like a 4th-round pick back, but they take the salary. I don't know. We're looking at something like that because Travis Kelsey is coming to an end. That's the most apparent thing that we saw last night and this season in general. Like he's completely lost the step and he can't be the starting tight end and he's not the favorite target. Patrick Mahomes doesn't have a favorite target anymore because when they do get open, they all drop the ball. We saw it last night. They all drop the ball every time they're open on a deep pass, on immediate pass, slants. Like they all just drop the ball. So I wouldn't say it's over because it wouldn't shock me if they just made the playoffs and made a run as well this year because they're not
Yeah,
eliminated yet.
I agree with that. You brought up the Astros. I kind of want to hop on that a little bit.
Yeah.
I think the similarity between the Astros and the Chiefs is the last couple of years, like you've kind of seen the chinks in the armor,
Mhm.
and the issues have been starting to boil up to the surface. Especially after Tyreek Hill left,
Yeah.
and
And they still won a Super Bowl right
yeah,
after.
I think they still won a Super Bowl after that, and then but last year is really, I think last year them going on that streak of like winning all those one score games, maybe it was a detriment to them because this year all those same issues are still there. Their offensive line, they did address it a little bit, but
It looks better,
it's
but now
just
they're hurt.
unfortunate that Josh Simmons got hurt and then the other two guys didn't play in the game.
Yeah.
But you know, I think the last 2 years they've had these issues. They haven't really fully addressed them, and it's kind of biting them in the ass this season. But do I think the dynasty's over? I don't think it's over. I just think this year they just don't have the same magic that they used to.
Yeah. And last year you mentioned the weird run that they went on with one score games and everything. They were 15-2. It was like if you win 15 games, you're still a damn good team at the end of the day. If you lose 7 games, you could still be a good team. You could still win the Super Bowl. We saw that with Eli Manning. I think they went 9-7 both times that they made the playoffs and as a wild card team, and they go to the Super Bowl. And they beat Brady twice. Like things like that happen. But yeah, the monster has taken a step down. The giant isn't as big anymore. He's kind of average size right now. He's beatable in a way. That defense is still really good, and the issue is it lies on the offense. And it's like they're not able to produce enough points right now on offense, and that's Andy Reid's thing. So it's different, but I don't think they're dead necessarily. Like the dynasty isn't dead, but it's the walls are starting to crumble down. Just like the east side wall has fallen down. The west is still up, north and south are still up. But if they miss the playoffs, then one of those might fall a little bit more. Walls of Jericho maybe might be having some trumpets sounding that the that the walls of Jericho are down. But if you want more Texans talk, head over to Off the Gridiron. I'm sure it's going to come out either later today or on Tuesday. Noah and Garrett and Josh and everybody are going to get on the microphone, on the horn, and talk a little bit more about the Texans. We talked a lot about the Chiefs there, but the Texans, hell of a game. In contention for the AFC South, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Next game we're going to talk about, though, is a fun rivalry. We both like this rivalry. We both grew up with it. Steelers-Ravens. Is it time? Do we finally ask the question about the Ravens? Is it time, Cushy? I don't know.
I mean, I kind of have a hot take about this subject.
Yeah, I've mentioned it on this pod. Lamar has a little bit too much Tua in him. The speed is still like there, but you're not like deathly afraid of him. And I think that's kind of the main thing with Lamar was like you were deathly afraid of whatever he was going to do on the football field. Right now, don't feel that way. Obviously, my team did because we got absolutely trounced on a Thursday night a few weeks ago. But other than that, it's kind of like human. He's not a superhuman anymore. And then it's like Mr. Harbaugh sitting on the sidelines. Have we've overstayed our welcome here in Baltimore? Is it time for a little scenery change for Mr. Harbaugh? I could be wrong. I don't think they'll fire him, but it's possible. I don't know. That's where I'm at with the Ravens. They lose 27-22 to Aaron Rodgers' ghost and whatever's going on in Pittsburgh because I don't trust them either. Both teams stink. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm with you, but I don't trust either team. Um, my main issue with the Ravens is this Ravens team does not have the same identity as past Ravens team, even a couple years ago with Lamar Jackson as quarterback, their defense was really good, and that was the staple of their team. And their defense just isn't very good right now, man.
No.
They have a lot of names on that defense, but as a whole, it's just not very good. And as far as Harbaugh, I wouldn't criticize it if they decided to move on from him this year.
Yeah, like it's been a long time. He's won the Super Bowl. He's had some really good teams. He's had this new resurgence with Lamar Jackson over the last 7 years plus now. Like they drafted him in 2018. So really 2019 is kind of when Lamar really came on and became the true starting quarterback. I know it was midseason in 2018, but 2019 is his first real year, wins the MVP, wins another one recently. Like you get Derrick Henry last year, you're kind of going for it. Zay Flowers is turning out to be something really good. Mark Andrews seems to be falling off a cliff and now is kind of back. And then you get this backup in Isaiah Likely, and you're like, okay, all right, well, what do we do here? And then the entire defense decides to get hurt at the beginning of the year. That's not on Harbaugh. I get that. But even if guys got hurt on those early 2000s Ravens teams or even the early Harbaugh Ravens teams, if guys got hurt, the next man up was still very good. Maybe not all pro like Ray Lewis or Ed Reed or anybody, but they were still damn good at the end of the day. And that defense is just not damn good anymore. They're just frankly not good at the end of the day. So, wouldn't be shocked if Harbaugh is on the move, if he wants a little change of scenery, wants to go somewhere else. And I wouldn't be shocked if they keep him because he is a longtime coach and they haven't had many coaches either over the years. So kind of like the Steelers in a way, where they just keep their coaches forever and ever and ever. And then at the end of the day, they still end up going 9-7, 8-9. They're not going to kill them. So I don't know. It's a weird team, but the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers ghosts like of a wrist and like a broken wrist, and he's taking hits and he's playing with confidence. Like if he's doing that against your defense, you know your defense isn't good because that's when Aaron Rodgers thrives.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic between the two head coaches, in this game, right? Because Mike Tomlin in the past, people have argued that should Mike Tomlin be fired,
And that's been
when they were
happening for
having the
years.
quarterback issues.
Yeah.
And then now, with the Ravens and how they're playing right now, people are kind of having those same conversations with him. So, regardless of where these two teams go, whether they make the playoffs or whether they make a run in the playoffs or they don't make the playoffs, I think the offseason is going to be very interesting for these two teams.
Yeah, the whole AFC North, really.
Yeah.
All four teams. Like, does Zach Taylor get fired because Joe Burrow got hurt? Because now Joe Burrow comes back and they look good. We're about to talk about them in a second. And then you look at the Browns and like everyone's kind of worried about Stefanski. That defense is so damn good, but he can't figure out the offense at all. And now they're activating Nasty Man, or not activating, but he's practicing. His practice window's open. Like, what's the purpose of this? Like, I don't get that.
I
It
don't
looks like
get it.
he's coming back next year. So you might have no Stefanski. You might not have Tomlin. You might not have Harbaugh. Like everyone in this division is kind of on the hot seat, which is crazy. But the game itself was just very strange. Like Likely catches another touchdown to win the game. Allegedly doesn't possess the catch. I thought he caught it. At the end of the day, I thought it was a touchdown. That whole rule is I'm going to call it the second dumbest rule in sport because I have a hockey one that I absolutely hate and I can't get rid of it out of my mind. It is the dumbest rule in sport. Like if someone kills your guy on the ice, like just absolutely decks them, you fight, you stand up for the guy and you fight him. You get the 5-minute major and then you come out of the box after 5 minutes. It's not that anymore. There's an instigator rule where it's 10 minutes plus the 5 minutes plus a 2-minute penalty. So he's done for 17 minutes if he stands up for his teammate. I think that's really dumb because hockey, you stand up for your guys. But second dumbest rule in sports is what is a catch and what is not at the end of the day. And Likely is somehow on the end of this again because what was it, last year, the year before, where his toe was just slightly out of bounds against the Chiefs in week 1. And it's in the end zone. It's every time, and it's just Likely. Like, just get smaller feet and just catch the ball at the end of the day. Dumb rule. Ravens technically should have won this, and then we're looking at Mike Tomlin on the other side of this, but they could still win the division. I don't know how, but they could. And this game was very weird and strange, and I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
It was a fun game to watch, but and we talked about this last week about how there's a certain brand of football that we're used to watching in the AFC North.
Yeah.
It's not that anymore. And we're going to get into the other AFC North team that played. it's just not that anymore. And um, yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen in this division.
I have no idea. I mean, Steelers are obviously in the driver's seat at 7-6. The Ravens are not out of it at 6-7. Um, the Bengals and the Browns are both out of it. So it's one of these two teams that's going to make the playoffs. And Aaron Rodgers looked like poo poo Magoo for the last 2-3 weeks, and then he looks really good against the Ravens. The conundrum of this division is insane. You know what's not a conundrum, Kush? Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code PAT when you sign up. Play your first $5, get $75 in bonus entries through the end of the month with our promo code PAT Football season is in absolute full swing. We're on the tail end of the season. That was week 14. You got Monday Night Football tonight. So hit up Underdog for the rest of this year. You got college football playoffs starting pretty soon here. You got NFL in full swing. You got NBA, NHL all in full swing. There's something every night for you. It's where you pair two statistics for different players, at least two statistics from two different players from two different teams. Put those together and you select higher or lower on those certain stats. Pair that together, you went up to 5,000 times your cash. Like, obviously, Tua Tagovailoa didn't throw an interception yesterday. I was surprised, but that's been my go-to. It's higher than Tua Tagovailoa picks at 0.5. You hit higher than if he throws one pick, you hit that stat. You got to pair that with another one. Devon Achane scoring a touchdown. That's pretty much lock and step. I'm good with that. And then CJ Stroud, lower than passing yards at the end of the day. It's just kind of where I'm at. You pair those three together, you went up to 5,000 times your money with the right picks, with the right stats, and everything else that goes with it. So sign up for Underdog Fantasy today using our promo code PATNFL. You can score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code PATNFL. Underdog, make picks, win money. Must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 and older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPEline at 1-877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369. That's Underdog Fantasy using promo code PATNFL. When you sign up, play your first $5, get $100 or $75 in bonus entries using promo code PATNFL. Thank you for sponsoring this episode, Underdog Fantasy. We love you guys. The next game, I don't know. I want you to talk about it. It's Jaguars Colts. From a perspective of an AFC South fan, are you happy or sad that the Colts just season is done? Would you rather the Jags season be done and you take care of the Colts yourselves, or are you okay with the Jags taking over and you chasing them instead?
Well, I actually thought the Jags were the better team between the two all season long.
Mm-hmm.
That
You
might be
have
considered a hot take, at the time, but obviously not now with the injuries, things have changed.
right.
I think in this game, Trevor Lawrence made a couple great throws, and he's always gotten criticism. I think he's playing well. I think the addition we talked about this, the addition of Jacoby Myers has completely changed that offense. And Brian Thomas Jr. is learning how to catch footballs now. Like,
Only 3 of them yesterday, but yeah, he had 6 targets. 50% catch rate.
that,
That's
that's
pretty
better
good,
than
right?
where he was at, early in the season.
Yeah.
But they scored 36 on the Colts. Daniel Jones, the leg could not hold up.
And it wasn't even that leg. That's
Yeah,
the
it was
bad
the other
part.
leg. Torn Achilles, announced today he's out for the season.
Yeah.
Rough blow for the Colts and their fans. But I think going back to the move they made for Sauce Gardner, it's just I have to wonder if at the time that they made the deal, like, did they know about the leg?
For Sauce? No, I don't think so. But even before the trade, I was like, Sauce doesn't look as good as he has been in the past. And obviously, as biased as I am, I recognize that Sauce Gardner is an asset and he's pretty good at football. I just didn't ever think that he was the best corner in football. I always thought Derek Stingley was better. I always thought Pat Surtain was better. Like, I've always been on this train. So, and that was a little bit of bias, but it was also before the draft, before he got to the Jets. And then they make like he looked bad. Like Darren Waller, who hadn't played in 2 years at this point, was just mossing him in the end zone early in the season. I was just
It
like,
was
that's like for Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle to outrun those guys, that was normal for me. For Darren Waller to come in after not playing football for 2 years and just like Moss Sauce Gardner twice in the end zone, and I was like, something's amuck with this guy. Either I was completely right and this guy's not as good as what he was, or he's a little banged up. And he might have been a little bit banged up. And now that draft pick, like if they lose out, they're 8-9. That's a top 15, top 16 pick in the draft. Like it's a good one for the Jets. And obviously it was a good one before the trade, or before the injury, but now it's even better. And credit to the Jets for making that move. But yeah, I feel bad for the Colts because you lose Sauce the other week. Calf strain. It's been freaky accidents in the NBA with calf strains and Achilles injuries over the last several months. And so that's frightening on its own. Then Daniel Jones is like, I'm going to play on a broken leg 2 weeks in a row is one thing. And then for him to drop back in a muddy field and it's raining in Jacksonville and it's just bad weather and you think it's his broken leg and it's not. It's his Achilles because he grabs the calf and it's on the opposite leg. And you feel bad for him because like he's been the butt of all the jokes for the last few years. And then he comes in this year and he's like good. He's just plain old good for several weeks. And then Jonathan Taylor's obviously carrying the team. But Daniel Jones was good enough to win all these games. And then he toughs it out on the broken leg and then ends up tearing his Achilles. I feel bad for the guy. I just do.
Yeah, he was easily having the best year of his career,
Mm-hmm.
and then the injuries just caught up to this team. You know, obviously the major one was Daniel Jones with the leg.
And Anthony Richardson just getting hit with a ball and pregame
Yeah,
warmups in his
that
eye.
one, because I know Anthony Richardson, as a starter, as a franchise quarterback, has gotten a lot of criticism.
Yeah.
But if you ask me, like, if that injury doesn't happen and he's active and he comes in yesterday, they have a chance in that game. I don't think they get blown out. Um, Anthony Richardson, like, say what you want about his accuracy issues, his brain sometimes
Yeah.
with the dumb decisions. He's
Yeah.
an athlete. He can throw that ball like a crazy arm strength. The arm is amazing,
Mm-hmm.
and then he can run the ball. So to me, like, that kind of is not a bigger loss than Daniel Jones, but I think that one hurts just as much as Daniel Jones.
Yeah. Absolutely. It just it's tough sledding for the Colts. And they were overperforming. They were playing bad teams. We said it at the midseason award show. We're like, look, Steichen, if they just keep winning and they win 15 games, then yeah, sure, we'll throw him a bone and give him coach of the year and all that kind of stuff. But they're not playing good teams, and they've lost to the two good teams that they had played. And now we're kind of on a spiral. It is what it is. But the Jags now kind of take control of the AFC South with the Texans closely behind, one game back. They're hunting. They're swarming. It's going to be a fun division race at the end of the day. The next game we're going to talk about, though, might have been my favorite game of the week. Aesthetically, gameplay-wise, craziness-wise, this game was insane. Bills 39, Bengals 34. Joe Burrow is just throwing it all over the field. He's taking the Bengals to this big old lead, and you're sitting there and like, golly, is it time? Is it finally time? Like we're talking about the Chiefs dynasty falling. I was like, is it time that Josh Allen just says no thanks to the playoffs? Maybe the Dolphins went out, the Bills miss the playoffs. I'm going through all these scenarios in my head, and then Josh Allen, he's just like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that yet. And then the defense was like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. In the snow, aesthetically, the most pleasing game on TV all week long. It was incredible. The snow was awesome up in Buffalo. Bengals blow the lead. Joe Burrow's 2 interceptions that lead to 2 touchdowns immediately after is really tough look. But the tank is on for them. They're 4-9. It's going to be okay. And the Bills are now 9-4. Not comfortably in the playoff situation, but they're pretty close to being comfortable, at least in the wild card, and still have a shot at the division.
I believe they're, like, if the playoffs started today, they would be the 4 seed.
5 seed, I guess, because they
5
didn't.
seed, yeah, one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a little bit in this game, Stone, I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought the Bengals were about to go on a run, man. I really thought it was gonna happen.
Yeah.
I really thought it was gonna happen, but credit to the Bills. Their defense making plays. How about that?
Yeah, that first pick six was like that was a weird one, but I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, they'll be fine. They're still up. Like they're gonna be fine. And then the second one happens, and I'm just like, oh no, this is real bad. This is back to back possessions, and Joe Burrow's probably kicking himself. It was a tough situation.
Yeah, and Josh Allen looked like Superman again. We haven't seen that for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then, this game kind of reminded me of the fact that you can have Joe Burrow on your team. Sometimes he looks like Superman, but the guy can't do it by himself, man.
Yeah.
That Bengals team needs help. Um, but I will say, Joe Burrow to me is kind of the closest guy to Superman in real life, just because I mean, even last year when they were struggling, they're giving up like 40 points, every game. It seemed like if you have him on your team, you have a chance to win. And I thought they had a good chance to win. It just didn't happen. But man, can you imagine if the Bengals would have won that game? What the conversation today would be?
Oh, I would be reluctantly banging the drum that the Dolphins could steal the playoff spot from the Bills. I would be talking myself into it. And I'm glad I don't have to do that. I'm glad I'm not in that situation because the letdown would be much harder than what it was. Because like I said, week 2, I gave up on my team, and now they're in the hunt, and I know where I'm at. So at the end of the day, the Bills had 183 yards on the ground. Obviously, Josh Allen had a 40-yard rushing touchdown in that fourth quarter, which was like a high school football play. It was the most open field I've ever seen in my life for a quarterback to run through 40 yards just straight up the middle. Or he went off to the side, started to scramble, was looking around. He's like, I'll just take off 40 yards into the touchdown, into the end zone. He threw it against the wall. There's snowballs flying. The vibes were good in Buffalo. I don't know. They're a fun team, and I hate them. But, yeah, that was just a really fun game. I mean, it's a lot of scoring. It's a lot of points, and there were some crazy plays, and it was in the snow. It just looked good, and now that's the football I wanted to watch. That was great because the weather was absolutely obscene everywhere in the country. There was snow falling in Cleveland. There was all kinds of snow on the ground in Buffalo. It was raining in Tampa and Jacksonville like cats and dogs. It was a fun weather football day. That was the first time like, hey, this is football weather. We finally made it.
Yeah, this Bengals and Bills game, it reminds me of backyard football with the weather,
Yeah.
with the offenses, the big plays. Like that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, the sliding every time someone caught the ball and like fell to the
Yeah.
snow, they would just slide for 3 extra yards. I thought that was really fun. Everyone's like kind of catching the ball, kind of not, like a little bit more cautious. And then obviously the scrambling and just the way it looked and everything. Everybody was slipping and sliding everywhere. I thought it was a fun game. It was great. It was tremendous TV. It was tremendous football. Football weather's in full effect now. Last game before we get out of here. Packers 28, Bears 21. I don't remember who I picked at the end of the day. Did I pick the Bears or did you pick the Bears?
I think you picked the Packers and I picked the
Okay,
Bears. Yeah.
there we go. That's what I thought happened, but I was like, I could see myself picking the Bears. Packers ended up winning 28-21. It ended up being a lot closer than what I felt it was. It was 14-3 in the first half. Obviously, the Bears kind of come back there, and then they're just kind of even in the second half. But Caleb Williams, less than 200 yards. Again, shocker. Who could have seen this coming? The Packers are just a better team at the end of the day. That's what it feels like. The defense is just slightly better. The offense is just slightly better than the Bears. And that's not a discredit to the Bears because I feel like the Bears are still a really good team. But I think the Packers just overtook the number 1 seed in the NFC winning this game. So it was a fun one. Great division. The ghost of Aaron Rodgers still lives on for Bears Packers.
Yeah, the Packers are kind of playing better when it matters most in December right now.
Yeah.
I thought they played a really really good game. You know, this is a team that after week 1, people were crowning them Super Bowl champions already, and then they kind of slipped and fell a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and then kind of got back on track. I think this is a good game for them to get back on track. And then the Bears, man, tough interception for Caleb Williams at the end of that game.
Yeah, you can't have that. The thing on the Packers, though, we mentioned that there's just not a guy. There's not a weapon, the go-to guy. Is it just Christian Watson? Are we here now? Like the last 3 weeks, it's just been Christian Watson. There's like 2 touchdowns every game from
I
Christian
mean, that man is
Watson.
a speed demon, so just throw it up to him, and if he can catch it, then he's gone.
I mean, he has only 4 catches, 4 targets, so he went 100% there, 89 yards, 2 touchdowns, had a 41-yard touchdown there. Because we've been talking about Reed, we've been talking about Dubes, we've been talking about Golden, we talk about Kraft, and then all of a sudden Christian Watson comes back and it's just like, I'm an automatic 2 touchdowns a game. So what? And I'm like, okay, maybe we got the guy. Maybe we have the go-to target where if all else fails, Jordan Love is like, you know what? Watson somebody, somewhere. I'm going to throw it to him. I'm going to find him. And odds are, 4 yesterday, he's just going to catch them all. So it keeps working. So maybe we found our guy on the weapon side for the Packers. And for the Bears, the offense just, it's not good enough at the end of the day for me. Like the run game's kind of there. The pass game's kind of there. It's just not, it's like 75% there in what I see. It's a little clunky. It's a little weird still. Maybe another year. Maybe this full year is like the full year of transition. And then next year they come out screaming and just firing on all cylinders. I don't know. It's just, it's weird to me. I don't know.
I think with the Bears, they've done a good job of kind of, improving from last year, obviously.
Absolutely.
But going into Green Bay and beating that team is tough, and maybe they're just not ready to take that step yet. But in my opinion, they kept it close to the end. It's just a tough interception to lose the game. I think the Bears will be all right.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying they're going to make a run to go to the Super Bowl or anything, but I think they're going to continue to find themselves, being in these types of games.
Right. Like, I mean, the Bears they're 7th in the NFC in the rankings, but I believe for the playoff they're just gonna be fine at the end of the day. They're still 7th, so they're 9-4. San Francisco's 9-4. They're still hanging around. Tampa is obviously winning the NFC South, so and Seattle's 10-3. Like that NFC West is just a gauntlet at the end of the day. You need one of those teams to kind of fall out to really secure your spot because you still got Detroit 1 game back. Carolina's still hanging around 2 games back. So they're not completely out of it and they're not done yet. It's just that offense just seems not fun to me. I don't know what it's like. There's not a flow of the offense that I can just trust where I turn on a Bears game and I know what to expect. Haven't found, well, I do know what to expect. And that's the problem is like, I know it's not going to be that fun. So
I think they're still trying to find that ebb and flow with their new head coach.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you watch the Bears, it doesn't look like the Lions all the time. See,
Right.
sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But I think you'll probably see more of that going into next season. But that being said, I think Ben Johnson's done a pretty good job so far.
Oh, absolutely. This team was really bad last year, and you already have 9 wins. You're above 500 automatically this year. You could lose out and have a better record than you did last year. That's progress at the end of the day. And if you get double-digit wins or even 11 wins this year, like that is a massive win for this organization where Bears fans were just like, we did it again. We fired the coach. We get a new quarterback. That coach doesn't like the quarterback, and then we go through the cycle again. And then we get the new quarterback, but not fire the coach. And then we fire the coach midseason. Then we get the new quarterback, get the new coach. Same, and it's been the same cycle. Now you're on Caleb Williams, where you had the coach, fired the coach, get the new coach, but the new coach believes in him. And it's not like, hey, I believe in this guy. It's not. He's not just saying it to the cameras. It looks like he actually believes in him. So it's going to take a little bit more coaching and maybe a little bit more sequences and all that kind of stuff. So I think they're going to be fine at the end of the day. They could still make the playoffs very easily. So not worried about the Bears, but yeah, I don't like their offense very much. And the Bears or the Packers kind of same way this year. It's just like, I like their offense a lot more now that Christian Watson's here. Before Christian Watson, I was like, what are we doing here? Where's the guy? Where's the guy? I just need one guy that I can trust. I don't know, but that's week 14. It was a great week. Aesthetically pleasing. There was rain and sleet and snow everywhere. That was a lot of fun. Enjoyed the football weather. I enjoyed the football itself. My team keeps staying in the hunt. Your team just killed off a giant. It's been a fun week in week 14, Kush.
Yeah, we're recording this on Monday afternoon, so
Yep.
By the time this episode comes out Tuesday, the Chargers and the Eagles will have already played on Monday night.
Sure.
And just thinking about all the scenarios, in the NFC and the AFC, the Bears went from like what number 1 seed to number 7 after a game in the NFC.
Yep.
The Chiefs look like they're almost out.
Close.
And this is kind of a big game, the Eagles and the Chargers.
Yeah, and it's not even a conference matchup. It's 2 different conferences going at it, and it's a very pivotal game for them. So it'll be a game for sure. I don't know if it'll be interesting. It could be really poo-poo. Like, it just might be bad. But I'll watch. I'll keep watching.
And
NFL.
what I did yesterday was I had to tune into the 12 o'clock game. So
Absolutely.
met a friend for lunch. Watched the Jaguars and the Colts. I had my little Colts hate watch going on.
Sure.
And then I had to take the nap, and so
Naturally.
I had to take the nap and in time for 7 o'clock. So I think that's what I'm gonna do today. Once I get home,
Okay.
after I leave here, I'm gonna get that nap in,
All right.
and then we're gonna watch a pivotal conference Monday Night Football game tonight.
You know what was really good about my game yesterday? Is that it was a blowout and I was able to take the nap during the game. Like during the fourth quarter.
That's always what we all want to do, but it doesn't always work out that way.
Because it's like this team I hate and I love and I can't help it. The Dolphins. I just can't help it. Like, I hate them, but I can't not watch them. This was the first game all season where I was able to just like, hey, if I doze off, it's not a problem. Like, we got this game in control, beating the shit out of the Jets. Like, at the end of the day, if I watch Tua throw another backwards pass that gets called an incomplete pass and I missed it, that's too bad. That's too bad. I got like 15 minutes of shut eye right before I started recording some podcasts and stuff yesterday afternoon. So it was another good week. Week 14, it's in the books. It's flying by. We got 4 more weeks left of this NFL season before we get to the playoffs. Both of our teams are still in it. Your team is very much in it. My team is just in the hunt for graphics sakes. That's
they're hashtag in the hunt, and we're in December, so that's a reason to celebrate for you.
Yeah, I know exactly where I am. I'm very familiar. Like, I'm right at home in the hunt, right at home. But that'll do it for Play Action Takes, a Polymedia's NFL podcast brought to you by Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. We love Zing Zang over here. Zang responsibly all season long. Shout out to Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code PATNFL. When you sign up, play your first $5, get $75 in bonus entries using our promo code PATNFL. Thank you for sponsoring this episode. Kush, thank you for joining me. Thank you to all the viewers and listeners. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already on Apollo HOU on YouTube or wherever you get PAT on your podcast platforms. We love you guys, and we'll be back later this week with a preview episode of Play Action Takes, Polymedia's NFL podcast.